Right, good morning. Good morning. Great. So it's very exciting to be here. Closely about a year now. Been to Cochin. So let's start with the story. In 2008, two gentlemen, after having a successful business, they were partying in Paris. Okay, they sold their businesses, they were partying in Paris. I'm talking about 2008. And they was like, okay, what do we do next? What can we do next, right? And one of this person had this idea. Let's solve this taxi problem in San Francisco. Like, if you have ever been to San Francisco in the past, you would know the pain to get a taxi because sometimes you can even get stranded there. The problem was not enough taxis, but it's just that at the time that you need it, it was not available. At that time, they looked at this smart computer on their pockets, which is the iPhone. The supercomputers. Everyone has a smartphone here? How many of you have a smartphone here? Go ahead. It's nothing to shy about. Right? You have a smartphone? Should I change the question? How many of you use WhatsApp? Right, almost the same hands, right? How many of you use Facebook? How many of you use it for anything else? Do you use it at all, otherwise? Other than answering your calls? Okay. So, this gentleman thought of solving the problem with the phone in the pocket. And you all know it. It's the Uber, right? It's been sponsored here. In 2008, they came up with a working model, and it was really awesome. If you haven't tried Uber, you should try it. I mean, I've been traveling cities. For example, I travel a lot. I travel to APAC. Last few months ago, I went to Hong Kong, and I had no clue how to get to places. And I didn't have to worry because all that I need to do is use the same app that I have. I've been using it for a while here, and just find the taxi and then go to places. That's very, very easy, right? It solves a big problem. Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is mobile is disruptive. Okay, both the speakers who spoke before me have spoken to you about ideas, right, and creating mobile apps because things are changing. Your mobile has more context of the user. It's not about the supercomputers that we used to have in the machines where it used to do a lot of processing, but your smart computers on your phone is knowing where you are, who you are, and a lot more information. So you can build apps that is really amazing and more useful, right? So my name is Nish, and I work as a developer evangelist with Xamarin. How many of you know about Xamarin? Great. So I'm lucky. I don't have to give you a lot of introduction, but for those of you who don't know about Xamarin, Xamarin is a platform for building, designing, developing, and integrating mobile apps. It's a cross-platform solution. Of course, you saw the first slides where Prasid introduced us to the mobile application development, where we talked about hybrid and all those things, right? So I'll get you deep into understanding of what Xamarin does. But Xamarin is not just about building mobile apps; it's also about testing your mobile apps, right? So what if you have built a successful app and it's out in the wild with your customers, right? And it's failing. How do you test it? Because how many of you have an Android phone here? Great. If I start asking you, how many of you have a Nexus? How many of you have a OnePlus? OnePlus 2, right? It's the same Android with different variations, right? And different form factors. Now, how do you test your application on all these devices? Is it possible for your company or you to build these devices in your data center and then test all of them? It won't be possible. So we built Test Cloud. So you all know cloud. Cloud is the new paradigm, right? So we built a huge data center with thousands of devices, and you could technically upload all your apps into the cloud and test it step by step using the automation script. You can use the Calabash open source language for building that. Okay? And it doesn't have to be built on Xamarin. You can test applications either if you're written in Objective-C, Java, or anything. Yes?
So you mentioned one language, what's it?
Calabash. Calabash.
Spelling?
C-A-L-A-B-A-S-H. The website is calaba.sh. Right?
Oh, Bash.
Yes, Calabash. Okay. And actually, we acquired this company called Less Painful, which built Calabash. Right, so that's Calabash is an open source framework that is maintained by Xamarin now. And what happens, you are successfully tested on all the devices and you send it to the user. Now the users are not using Wi-Fi all the time, right? They may be on a data network where there could be leakage in the network and your app is failing. How do you get to know that? It's very difficult to understand unless you know this is happening, right? This is the issue that is happening. So we built something called Xamarin Insights, which is like 2 lines of code added to the code. Once it's published, any exceptions, any errors will be sent to our servers. You can log in and check. It's basically analytics, right? You can track and understand everything. You can log everything possible. I wouldn't suggest to use log user's password or something like that, but you can log enough information that you can understand. Right, all these things you can learn it at Xamarin University, which is an online training stuff. So we'll look at that later. So the next thing is Go native. You've been hearing native, native, native. So how many of you can really explain native? We had the first session. Native, native, native. Yes. What's native? No? Okay. Let me tell you why you should build native. Anybody has used the instant articles from Facebook? No? So instant article is in, what's it? 5 minutes? That's it? Ready? 5 minutes out. Great, thanks. So instant article is a publishing platform. So Facebook being a web company, right? They have enormous amount of web users. They built this platform for users to understand and read articles much, much better using the native platform. So if you haven't tried it, this is an iOS only app, but you can try it. It's called Instant Articles. It's not an app, it's basically a publishing platform. But in iOS, when the articles get published, there's beautiful immersive UI to where the users are engaged with. So building native is the important thing, because you need to make use of the full sketch of the platform. Now, when you set out to build native application, there are different approaches that you would be taking, right? So one approach that we looked at even in the morning is the siloed approach, where when you set out to build a native application, you will use Objective-C or Swift as a language for building iOS application, and the toolset that you use is Xcode. And similarly, when you build Android, you have Java and Eclipse or Android Studio, right? And there is Windows with C# and Visual Studio. Now this is the platform divergence out here. Now, there is a problem. This is the best approach because you have building the native application, you have the native access, you can build everything. The problem is, the same feature that you need to build on these 3 platforms have to be written thrice in 3 different languages and by 3 different developers. Same developers cannot use the same thing, right? If you are a Java developer, are you ready to write an Objective-C code? Are you ready first of all? Ready? Have you seen Objective-C anytime? Yeah?
You might write, but you might write Java in Objective-C.
Right. So even if you're comfortable with the languages, there's another problem. As a developer, our biggest tool set is the IDE, that we use, right? The moment you move to Xcode from Eclipse, the problem is you lose the bindings and you would not know how to do the things around. So you become very less productive. And this is exactly the reason why in the industry we have a lot of solutions called write once, run anywhere, right? Very, very spoiled term. Very spoiled term. This is a hybrid development approach where I put HTML, JavaScript, CSS into some kind of a magic stuff and it, should I say, oops out. iOS, Android, and Windows Phone apps, right? Now, if you really look at what happens is it puts a web browser in front of the user, 100% height, 100% width. It is the HTML and CSS which is making user make it look like an iOS app or an Android app. Detect the browser agent and then fire CSS to it, right? How many of you are web developers or have tried web development in the past? Great. How many of you have been successful writing a JavaScript and running on all the browsers?
But you always pick a browser.
That's a tricky question.
How is that tricky question?
Because it's really difficult to write all these things in all platforms, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying if you're a web developer, right, you're only writing HTML and CSS and JavaScript. But how are you successful? Were you successful in writing it for Mozilla, Chrome, Internet Explorer? Right?
So the vision of HTML5 is that, right?
Yes, vision of HTML5 is there, but are you still there?
No.
No. So what do you do when okay, you wrote HTML, you wrote JavaScript, you wrote everything, and then you run it successfully, and it failed on Chrome, or it failed on Mozilla. What do you do?
So you have to live with the state of affairs.
No, what do you do when it fails? What do you do when it fails? When a JavaScript fails, what do you do? What do you do? Come on, developers, aren't you developers?
So we create browser-specific paths.
You know what I do? I Google. Right? I Google to figure out what the exception is, what the error is, right? Half of the people do that, or more than half of them. I mean, I would suggest you to go documentation, understand things. But this is what we do. We don't have time. We have project deadlines, right? We have to Google it, obviously. Google saves our day job every day, right? So, Google saves us, and then what do? You find out there is some pineapple JavaScript, or Apple JavaScript, or orange JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, strawberry JavaScript, you will figure it out. And then you'll say, okay, this is an awesome thing, this is going to work everywhere. And you put that, right? And then you run everything, and then finally deploy it into your end user. What happens after that? When it fails there? Again, you will Google. Correct? So, this has been the problem in the web for a long time. And this is going to continue to exist when you take this hybrid approach, which nobody tells you, which none of them tell you. There's a big problem because the browser engines are different, and the way they are rendered is totally different. So there's a problem. So it solves your problem of writing once, but running anywhere without debugging everywhere, it's impossible, right? Now, Xamarin takes a very different approach. You need to understand this very, very clearly, right? It is not a write once, run anywhere approach. It is a complete native development in a single language, that is C#. What we did is we projected this entire platform on iOS and Android in a high-level language, which is C#. You know how Java works, right? There is Dynamic Engine, there is Java running, right? Under the hood, it is C and C++. Same way, you have mono runtime running, and there is C and C#, which is going to be executed in the mono runtime. Okay? We'll go into the details of that later. But since you're writing in a single language, you can technically share source code across all the three platforms. But remember, you need to build the UI twice. Okay? This is an advantage because you can use the same storyboard that an Objective-C developer uses. You can use the same XML files that an Android developer uses. But you will not be writing up even hand there's another code in the Objective-C or Java code behind, but you will be writing it in C#. Got it? We'll go into the details as well. The advantage is you are native, you are building a native application, but you're also getting to share the code across all the three platforms. Think of it like a pharmacy application, right? Where there's so much of business rules out there. You don't have to repeat the rules in C#, Java, and Objective-C. You can just use the same rule in all three platforms, right? Very easily. So these are the advantages that you get. Now, that's the traditional approach. We also introduced something called a Xamarin Forms, which is, a lot of the customers came to us and said, you know what, writing 3 times UI, it's really not something that we want to do. We want to do something like write once, run anywhere. But we want to render native controls. We want to have a text box which is actually an iOS text box, not a HTML text box sitting on the web browser. Right? So we build Xamarin Forms for certain apps. It's not for everything, but it's for certain kind of apps. We don't suggest for it's not every single app you start with Xamarin Forms. You start with Xamarin projects, and then if you have a use case where you want to build, very quickly, like a feedback app or a rating app, right? It's very simple. It has to be controlled. So we look at those use cases where you can use Xamarin Forms. So, go C#. So how many of you are C# developers here? Okay. How many of you are Java developers? Okay. And what are others? C, C++? Okay, great. Web developers? Yeah, this question. Okay. How many of you are not developers, project managers? Or the architects, the example that he gave? Great. Cool. So, if you're a Java developer, don't worry, C# is just a brother from another mother, right? So it has very, very similar things, but it has some beautiful features, like language integrated query, where you can, query on a live objects, and do a lot of things with SQL and other things. There is an immense options available for XML, interactions and other things. There is event handling, delegates. I'll quickly go through this. Now, C# also has advantage of using JSON, which is again a NuGet package from James Newton's game, where it's very easy to serialize a JSON from a C# class object, or deserialize from a JSON to C# class object. So that's something called as Newton's of JSON, which is almost always you will be using this because the web is transforming REST and JSON are the things to use. Now this is, I'm not sure if you can see this. That all I'm doing is creating a person object in C#, and this is Objective-C for that. Same thing, same amount, same code. But that's the thing, right? And C# uses beautiful async await pattern. Right? Anybody async await? Great. Always use your UI to be responsive on mobile apps because people don't have time to use your app. They only have very little time to use your app. So make sure it is responsive enough and don't hang on there. And just to give you an example, this is an Objective-C code. You have something called as UI view. So a view is called as a UI view. Again, the same thing. It all comes from Next Step from Steve Jobs, right? When Next Step came into Apple, the whole NS implementation came in. So you'll see strings as NS string, int as NS int, right? Similarly, they have this pattern of whatever is the namespace, take the abbreviation, and then create the controls or the subclasses for that. So you have UI view, which is part of UI kit. So similarly, in Xamarin also you will have the UI view because it's the same platform projected to you in C#. Now, when you say, this is the code that is being used for animation, and look at the code, it's just async await. It's very simple. It makes it very easy. The compiler takes care of all this threading and all the things for you. So here's the Java code. If you can't see it, all that is happening here is an item click listener sent to Java, but in Xamarin you have, or C# for that matter, you have the item click event listener directly. And just to make it async await, all that you need to do is async it, and just await the operation that is being on async. It's very simple. So why Xamarin? It's very simple. When you're writing in C#, you have target of 2.6 billion devices. Agree? Have you seen the new Windows, Surface Pro book? Surface book? It's amazing, right? Finally there is a proper competition to the MacBook Pro. But obviously with the touch. But then, yeah, you see the world transforming. Right? Enterprises are going to upgrade to all these things. So BYOD generation, you can walk in with anything of your own device, you have the enterprise class apps coming into it. Right? So, just to quickly explain you how Xamarin works. If you know the document world, there is a base class libraries. So everyone uses system.NET, all these things, right? There's a namespace. Now, if you are an ASP.NET or if you're a web developer in case of .NET, you have all these things libraries available to you. But the moment you move to Windows Phone, you don't have any of these ASP.NET APIs, but you will have the Windows APIs. So you will technically learn these Windows APIs, right? How to program these Windows APIs. This is exactly what Xamarin did with iOS and Android as well. So you have the same base class libraries and frameworks, but you have the Apple SDKs on top. So you will be directly programming these SDKs. When it comes to Android, same thing, right? So what I mean to say here is you have 100% of the platform. So anything an Objective-C developer or a Java developer can do, you can do it using C# and Xamarin. Because it's the same platform projected. You can do one more thing, is you can share the code across the three platforms, right? So how does this work? It is important to know how this works, right? We take these native libraries and bring it to C#. It's called bindings. Okay, we project this lower level C calls into C#. When I'm explaining about iOS, right? You all know C# compiles to IL? Yes? What happens to IL after that? When it runs?
On the file, okay, it's just-in-time compilation.
Just-in-time compilation. So you have just-in-time coming in, recompiling into the native instructions, right? Now, same. Blame it on Steve Jobs. He said, no way you're compiling the code online or when the app is live. You know the Flash issue with Steve Jobs and Apple? Flash almost died. Almost what? Flash is dead, right? So, you can't have just-in-time. So what we did is we moved everything up to ahead of time compilation. So when it becomes ahead of time compilation, we could use the same compiler that an Objective-C uses or Swift uses, the LLVM compiler, and we generate the native instructions, which means you cannot differentiate between an app that was built using Xamarin or built using the native, because it is the same LLVM compiler which is doing that. When it comes to Android, you may know that Java runs on Dalvik. It's a Dalvik virtual machine, right? And Android is an open world. So we optimized the model runtime, which is the .NET runtime on Linux, which was founded in 2001 with us, with the same team that we are at Xamarin, right? We are the people, we are the creators of model, we are the maintainers of model. So we built the model runtime, which is far more efficient than Dalvik, and that's available on the Android. So this is how it works. Any questions here? How many of you are awake?
What percentage, like say for example, like what percentage of code can be reused? Say for example, like I write an application in Objective-C. It takes 100 lines of code.
Yeah.
I do the same in Xamarin. Obviously, I get the platform advantage and all those things. What would be the benefit in terms of number of lines of code? I mean, on an average.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I cannot exactly answer what will be because it depends on your project. But any platform independent code can be easily ported to Android as well. So anything that doesn't have iOS SDKs, nothing on iOS SDKs, take it to the rest.
No, that is fine. But what I'm asking
70
is
to
like
80%.
no, 70 to 80% can be reused.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm asking is like, say for example, if an application is really native intensive, okay? So the UI, the look and feel, everything is native. So that means for native part, you will have to code it for iOS. You will have to do it again for Android, right? But what you could do with Xamarin, because we have tried this as well, is to reuse the business logic part, which is available. So the main question is like, we compared these two things, like I have got Objective-C developers and I have got C# developers. Like I have to develop an app first for iOS, later on Android, and also to other platforms like Windows. So what we find is that the number of lines of code, if you write it on C# and if you write it on Objective-C, there is no much difference. But if you could really do the tricky part in the sense that you separate out the business logic and reuse it across the platforms, then it's fine.
Yes, you have to architect the application for cross-platform. So when you architect the application itself, you have to make sure that you use patterns like dependency injection, right? All those kind of patterns will help you. Like the code that is absolutely necessary for platforms to be code, only those have to be retained in these projects. The rest of things have to be moved out. I'll show you an example.
Yeah, fine, but I mean like the approach, like when we go, like now we have web services, every logic is being done at the back end. Like we call for, like say for example, if it is a transaction in banking, like you have a cash transfer. So nothing is being done as a logic part in the client side.
You will be caching, right? There will be offline sync, there will be SQLite storage, there will be RESTful calls.
No, the primarily like you call the web services, like I'm talking about enterprise class applications where you have security and all those things behind. So what you really do is like to provide a wonderful UI, provide a wonderful user experience at the client end, make the client really thin and responsive, and at the same time make a transaction. So, like say for example, you might be using a banking application. Nothing is being stored locally because you are not allowed to do so because of security reasons. So for that matter, if you really do an application which is client intensive, from my point of view, from my understanding, Xamarin could be a good tool where you could combine all this logic part, like business rules part and everything on the client side. If you are really focusing on things which you would like to keep the client thin, but give a pure native experience across platforms, then I might not suggest. In my view, Xamarin. What is your view on this?
No, the thing is, honestly, if you have no code to share across a platform, that means you're doing something terribly wrong. Because there will be 100% a lot of code that can be shared across the platform. So we can talk offline as well. I'll go into the samples where we separate the code. See, ideally, any models, business logic that you will be using the server can also be used on the client. So you will be using, say, JSON transaction, right?
No, the thing is that you are not allowed to do that. Because, like, say for example, you have a cash transfer, say for example. The thing that you have to do is, you have to reduce this amount, whatever you have in your ledger balance or whatever you have in your account, and then only make the transfer. Like first, what you do is, you will have to block this amount from your balance.
So we'll look at that. I think it's an architectural question. We will look at that in detail, and I'll help you with
Sure, okay.
that, right? Right, so other advantage that you get is obviously a single developer can code on all the three platforms because he's aware of the tools and all that he needs to know is the SDKs. Okay, so what else? Always up to date. So we support iOS 9 as well as the recent Android Marshmallow. You all know Android M? Yes, so we support that. So we provide the same day support. So there's no rocket science here. Apple gives exactly 6 months to every beta developers out there. We are also part of the beta program, and that's when our engineers start writing bindings for it. Right? We take the platform, we write bindings, and they're available. So the moment iOS announces that its iOS latest version is out, we could announce on the same day because we work hard on those, again on the same timelines. Now, this is something even you can do. Okay, you can bring any C++ libraries from the iOS world to Xamarin by using the same bindings technology. Okay.
So is it documented?
It is. It is. It is documented, and we have a lot of GitHub samples as well. So, also full support for Apple Watch. I have a session on .NET variables where we will cover on how do you program for Apple Watch, how do you program. Anybody has an Apple Watch? Or it's just me? Okay, there's Android Wear. If you haven't tried wearables, it is really amazing. Again, a disruptive technology which can take things out. Right, so you have full support for this. So that means you can program everything from this world. Okay, so let's go into demo quick. How much time do I have? Anybody? Timekeepers? How much time do I have?
10 minutes more, I think. I got daily.
10 minutes more, that's it? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's an app that we built for, we had something called as Hack Night in collaboration with IBM from the Bluemix team. And we built a chat app, okay? Bluemix has a nice service called Watson Dialog Service, where you can feed it, feed some XML files to it, and it will respond based on the user queries, right? So when we built that, when we did for Hack Night, we actually wanted proctors in the hackathon. Someone who could help with, like, hey, I'm trying this, what would be going wrong, right? Or have a setup problem, or it could be simple like, what's the lunch, right? So we built this small chat app, and we gave a local Bangalore flavor to it. That means all the answers, if you know, there is a guy called Nagana who speaks like, in macha, hi macha, what machas, like, right? I don't know if you guys use it here. But, so we added those flavors. So this is a simple chat application, right? Now, I can say hi to it, hopefully the internet. Okay. I can say hi to it and expect some response. You can ask a few questions like, I hope there is internet. Yeah, there you go. So it says cannot be able to understand because it's not a spelling mistake. It is the language slang that you're trying to bring. Okay. It says please mind that language. You can actually technically throw anything at it and it will handle it for you. So this is an example. There is an example of pizza ordering app. Like for example, if someone has to call and order the pizza, you really don't have you don't need an assistant to help you with it, right? All that you need to ask is what pizza do you want? Do you want medium, large, or small? Right? Do you want it to be added? What are the toppings that you want to add? And what is the delivery do you want to pick up or do you want to deliver? That's it. You don't need any assistant to just answer all these questions, right? So you can make a virtual assistant out of it. This is what we exactly did. So for example, I can ask a question like, what is Xamarin? And it should just come back with some answers about it, right? So we can ask like, what is love for lunch? And it will tell you something for, we can ask that as well. So that's an explanation for what is Xamarin and say, okay, what is lunch for you? So it says, are you ready, sir? So let's ask in Kannada. So we call it as Uta. So it says masala dosa, rava dosa, right? So it will tell you what exactly is the Uta for that day. So very interesting app, right? So look at that interface. I wanted to focus on the interface. This is a pure Android app. This uses every design principle that Android provides you. So you have the live chat if you want to, and there are settings and about. We'll not go into all those details, but I want to show you the code. So this app is, by the way, available in the App Store. You can search for it. It's called AskX. You all can see it, is it? So you have this project, like Android project, and within that, you have this main activity. Okay, you have all this logic written out here. Let's try increasing this. You can see that, right? Now, better? Okay. So let's start with creating the UI. So this is exactly how you write an Android. So you have XML files. You can technically copy the XML from an Android world and put it here. It's going to just work fine. So you have a beautiful designer. I'm using Visual Studio. Okay, you can use Xamarin Studio as well if you're interested. But you can, it's technically the same.
Xamarin Studio is available for Mac as well?
Yes, it is available for Mac. Okay. I mean, we are famous in Mac because there's no Visual Studio on Mac.
Okay.
Right. other than Visual Studio Code, which is a flat file.
So this
Okay.
is Visual Studio, right?
Yeah, this is Visual Studio.
You are running in a